Robin with Oxy-Dry, and here I am back in the building that I just cleaned yesterday. And I was just talking to the building manager, and he says they're very happy once again with the way the carpet turned out. Nobody's expecting this carpet to look new. It is 19 years old. Should have been replaced probably 10 years ago. But and you can, what you're seeing here, the light and dark patching, is actually almost entirely caused by the way the machine, as it agitates the carpet. The last cleaning pass, depending on which direction I'm going, will leave the yarn, and it has a bit of a yarn actually, leaning one way and the other. Of course, it's lifting the yarn, which the rotary with the, depending on which pad you're using, will do very effectively. So, one time, a couple of years ago, I guess now, I cleaned this carpet with my roto wash, and instead of seeing light and dark, you can see from the way the rotary goes back and forth, instead of seeing that, what I saw was very pronounced straight lines going back and forth. It was very obvious, actually much more obvious than this, as far as because it was quite a contrast, because I go down this direction and come back right beside and go down this way, so it was like light and dark, light and dark, light and dark. So it does it as well as with the rotary. So, and what'll happen is as it gets walked on, it'll just sort of flatten down and all even out. But anyway, there's one spot here. I've been walking through the building. I just saw the building manager. He says everything looks fine, but I said, okay, I'm just going to walk through and see if there's anything that needs any attention. And the other floors are looking fine, just this one spot here. So I'm going to do that, and might as well just go over this area here. Since I'm here, I actually came here to do, I did one flight of steps, one of the stairwells. That's what we're going to do every year now. And I'm using my backup residential rotary. I have my normal MD180, which is what model this is. The tank sprung a leak. I went to put it in the van this morning and discovered it was leaking, so I grabbed the backup. So this is a AstroTurf pad, AstroTurf green stripe. And it's kind of funny, I've been mentioning when I was using my 300 RPM machine, I kept saying it goes 9 times per second. I don't know where I got the 9 times. It rotates 5 times per second on the carpet. This machine does 3. And when you slow down, of course, you're doing many more passes per second. I could have used these pads. I kind of forgot. I can't remember how many of these I have. These are the AstroTurf pads. I could have used these on this carpet, and it's really lifting the pile nicely. I can see it. I used the Hog Sarah fiber pad on the landing areas, and then switched over to the Ironman. But I could have probably used these. I kind of forgot I had them actually. I'll kind of just go over this. Might as well. But the other floors are looking good. Carpet's always a challenge, you know. It's 19 years old and very deteriorated fiber, and yet when I clean it, it turns out pretty darn good. And 19 years is a long time for any carpet, and this gets a lot of use. But thankfully, they're not expecting a new carpet out of it, because that ain't gonna happen. There's a lot of dulling of the yarn from the abrasion effect that's happening with this carpet, which is normal. Getting walked on for 19 years in a pretty big, this is actually a pretty big condo building. So there's a lot of people coming and going. So you can see the light and dark patches just from the way the pile's laying. But it'll lay down again as it gets walked on, and then it'll all evens out. I don't think we need any more than that. It was just that one spot right there. I spilled some water on the fourth floor, I think. And I was wondering if it was gonna make a water stain or something. But it didn't, so that's good. Okay, let's have a quick peek at this. A little bit. You'll always get more, you know. But again, you can see, I just went over it, and you can see light and dark, light and dark, light and dark. It's because if I go one way, the last direction I go, you say I'm going over to the right, then the yarn is going to be laying that way. And then if I go that way, the next step, the yarn, you might see the yarn leaning towards you. So you get a light and a dark, depending on how the light reflects off the pile. And this carpet does have a pile. And the squares actually stick up above the rest of it. So it's actually a multi-level carpet, very subtly. And it's more obvious over there on the wear than over here, where it's not as compressed down. So what's happening is that this yarn is compressing more than this yarn, and that's what's happening over there. So it gives it a kind of a weird effect. I remember years ago, I had a carpet I had to look at. This was very interesting. It was a condo building, and they had 2 or 3 different guys come in and clean this carpet, and they had this very obvious black going right down the hallway. And they couldn't get it out. They couldn't budge it. So, which is interesting. So I come in, I look at the carpet, and they're telling me about, this black that's going right down the middle of the hallway, and nobody can get rid of it. Can you do anything? And I'm looking at it, and I said, no, I can't. And they said, well, why not? And I said, well, because you're not looking at dirt. What you're looking at is and there's this, 20 years ago, I guess now, 30 years ago, actually, come to think of it. What they did is they combined olefin with nylon yarn. So they had nylon yarn mixed in with the olefin. And what was happening is that the olefin was crushing, and the nylon, and what they did is the nylon yarns were each darker. It was like they scattered it throughout the carpet, so that it had sort of a speckly effect, and the darker yarns were actually nylon. So what was happening is that in the traffic areas, the olefin was crushing downward, but the nylon was popping up above, looking like sprouts by the thousands. It was like if you get right down on the level of the carpet and look across it, you could see the yarn literally sticking up about, not much, like 1/8 of an inch or something like that. But it gave an effect of, because it was the darker fibers on the carpet, it gave an effect that the carpet looked like it was dirty, and it was this black or dark pathway and all it was the darker yarns sticking up above the lighter background, like a little forest. And of course you can't fix that. And of course they realized that, you know, that was a terrible idea to to put the nylon and the olefin together that way. You can't do the dissimilar fibers. But so that's kind of what's going on right here, because, you know, if you can see this, but these squares, they're all standing up a little bit more than the background. The background is compressing a little bit more, so that gives it a bit of a 3D effect. But it's not as obvious in the area where the wear isn't happening, where the footwear isn't happening. So those are all the things you have to really pay attention to and look at when you're looking at a carpet that's got a problem. You've got to stop and you've got to think, okay, now what's going on here? And you've got to figure it out. And then there's always an answer. There's always an answer. Okay. Anyway, you can see that this is, you know, where I've gone over it now. It's unevenly color. This carpet goes quite dark when it gets damp, so it gets kind of blotchy and uneven looking, but it'll even out. Always does. Always looks wonderful. So anyway, hopefully that was interesting and helpful to some of you guys. So I'll let you go, and thank you for watching, and have a good day.